We're here with Ashley Godwin of Ghost Hunters International, one of the newest members of the team, right? And the youngest?
Yes, definitely.
And we're going to be talking to her about what she does and what this last season has gone like, and also some impending interviews here in Savannah itself. So you are the youngest member, and out of anybody that's ever been on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about how that came about.
Okay. Well, as everyone knows, I'm 21.
Mm-hmm.
I started investigating down in Florida with the Florida Ghost team, which is what Rob Demarest, he started the team himself. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, maybe like a year into investigating with him, you know, I got to know everyone else on the team and, you know, all that good stuff. And I started learning more. And then also watching Ghost Hunters, the actual show. This is before GHI came out and all that stuff. And then Rob actually announced that they were going to be starting a new show. You know, it's going to be like a spin-off of Ghost Hunters. It's Ghost Hunters International. So, you know, I got all excited because someone I knew who started my home team was going to be on television. And you know, they got that show rolling and all that. And I kind of quit and I moved up to North Georgia for a while. And around that time, I wasn't investigating much. And then I came back to Florida and got in touch with Kevin from Skeptical Believers. And then, you know, I just kind of investigated with him a couple times. And this is after Angela Alderman had already been on the show. See, I didn't even know that because I was gone for a long time. And then, I don't know, just I got in contact. Rob ended up emailing me. And he's like, hey, well, we need you, you know, if you want to audition to be on the show, we need another female on the show. So I sent an audition tape, and a couple weeks later I got a phone call, and here I am.
Well, how did you get into it? Because you mentioned that you hopped on board with these people and started doing investigations. What brought you to that point to begin with?
My mother and my whole family, actually, they've always been into like watching scary movies, and anything that has to do with ghosts and goblins and all that stuff. And whenever, you know, growing up around that certain area, I guess, in Florida, we always used to play Ghosts in the Graveyard around Halloween, and I don't know, I was just always into it, so was my parents. And then when I was about 3 years old, my grandmother and my mother, they got a house down in Florida around the Orlando area, and it ended up, you know, supposedly, I guess, they said it was haunted. I don't remember much activity happening in this house. I remember strange noises. I remember being in the living room and like hearing dishes being thrown around in the cabinets and stuff. And I would walk in there like just to check it out. You know, I was little, I didn't know much. And I would walk in and just check it out, and not a lot was happening. You know, there was nothing misplaced or anything like that. And same with like silverware and stuff. And it sounded like someone literally picked up a pile of silverware and threw it in the sink. So we would run in there and nothing was misplaced. Also, you know, my grandmother and my mother on separate occasions have been in the shower, and they heard someone as if they were trying to get in the door, and they knew no one else was home, like banging on the outside of the bathroom door. They would get out and open the door and no one was there. And I mean, just little things like that happening, I mean, throughout my life. It always, it sparked my interest in the paranormal. And like, I had a couple of little things happen to me throughout the years, nothing big. So I was always the one, like, I 50% a believer and 50% not. So it's like I do believe, but I don't, but I really want to. So I'm out there looking for like physical proof. Right. That's why I'm doing this.
Do you come from any kind of religious background?
I do, actually. I come from a Christian household. I was raised Southern Baptist. Both sides of my family, actually. So I grew up, I mean, I went to church, you know, going to church and all that stuff. I actually went to a Christian school when I was younger. So, you know, just stuff like that.
Was there any experiences that you had as far as within that religion? Within going to church, within being in that, I guess, scene, I mean, was there any experiences there that you may have translated as religious at the time, but perhaps thought maybe later this might have been something else?
Not really, to be honest with you. Growing up around that, there have been a couple of experiences that my actual grandmother herself has had happen, and she believes it was messages from God, or you know, she actually thought she saw an angel one time. She said she saw someone walking down the street, and as if she saw like a golden, like an aura come from this person, and it looked like that this person was an angel. And you know, me coming from, thinking of the more scientific side of things, I'm thinking, okay, well, it was just, the sunlight or something reflecting off of something, that's how I think.
Right.
When I think of these things. But other people, I'm not saying they're jumping to conclusions, because I'm not ruling out any side of anything, because I'm a religious person myself. But when it comes to things like that, I have to have hard evidence.
Right. What are your ideals behind it? What are your what kind of areas of science do you look to try and help you on these investigations?
Well, I mean, I tend to agree with you whenever you say, like, our emotions and stuff can affect the environment around us and all that stuff. But I don't, whenever it comes to, like, people who, like you say, are overly emotional, which, like you have, like, psychics or mediums and stuff like that, I don't totally rule those people out. I'm not going to say they exist or they don't exist, or if they're real or they're not real, because, I know people who know people, but I know people who know, like, psychics and stuff, and then they say, I mean, these people have told them things that no one else could have possibly known, and it was in detail.
And I don't rule that out either. I don't think it's so much paranormal as it is something that can actually be explained, that some people have this ability to tap into a different frequency or something.
Yeah.
Which is another interesting, harmonic frequencies and things like that. I mean, do you go into any of that on your investigations?
Somewhat. Like, whenever it comes to, like, really, like, I know a little bit about everything, but not a lot about, little things. If that makes sense.
Not like certain niches.
Yeah. Like, I just kind of, I like to study and know a little bit about everything. And that's why, like, me working with GHI and the way we investigate and stuff, like, he's really technical. He's big on, like, the tech stuff. And like, Rob, he's actually, he's very scientific, but he knows a lot about spiritual things, you know what I mean? Like, he knows a lot about different stuff, like people who use runes, tarot cards, psychics, anything, like, really, all that kind of stuff.
Very interesting.
He's a very smart man, like, all around. And Brandy, she's, like, extremely scientific. We all have our different, personalities and the way we go about investigating things. But me, I'm kind of like 50-50, and I always have been and I always will be. Like, I don't know a lot about the scientific things, so I'm not completely scientific like people like to say I am. And that's just kind of, I guess, the way they made me out to be, in the beginning, just to be completely honest with you. I'm not 100% scientific, or I'm not this, physics genius or anything.
So you go from spiritual and also scientific, so you're trying to balance it out.
Exactly. Yes, because I believe in the spiritual world, obviously. Like, that's why I'm here, that's why I do these things. But I don't want to disprove it, you know what I mean? Because there's certain things that have happened that you just can't explain. And I mean, we've tried our best, working together as a team, things that have happened to us that we haven't been able to explain. Like, whenever it comes to anything scientific or non-scientific, we've tried our best, and there's just, like, there's no way. Like, little, like, paranormal experiences.